So what's your point today?
Okay. Well, naturally, with Christmas and Hanukkah here, many of us are spending even more time than usual on faith traditions. Both holidays, like many others, have been secularized in recent decades, but even so, nobody can escape mentions of Christ at Christmas or the Maccabees during Hanukkah. During this year's Christmas season, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the case of 303 Creative, which challenges a Colorado public accommodations law. After Thanksgiving, Congress passed the Respect for Marriage Act, and President Biden signed it into law just last week. We talked a bit here about the 303 Creative case earlier this month. It raises an interesting legal question, and it's one that liberal democracies and constitutional republics like ours have basically grappled with since the Enlightenment. The owner of 303 Creative is an artist named Lori Smith, who creates websites for businesses and events. She wants Colorado to protect her from celebrating marriages that fall outside of her faith tradition. She's a Christian. Put another way, Smith is happy to serve LGBT customers, but she doesn't believe the state can compel her to create wedding websites for same-sex marriages. Lori's position on same-sex marriage puts her in a clear minority of Americans. There is no question about that, which is why it's no surprise at all that Congress passed the RFMA with enough Republican support, and then Biden signed it into law. America went from disapproving of same-sex marriage to overwhelmingly supporting it in about a decade. Congress represented the consensus position then by passing the bill, which was pushed, especially by Democrats, after Clarence Thomas's concurring opinion in the Dobbs decision, since he mentioned that Obergefell may not be on solid legal footing like he thought Roe wasn't. But the bill had a wrinkle that incensed some Republicans. Senator Mike Lee offered an amendment that would, in his words, quote, prohibit the federal government from retaliating against any person or group for adhering to sincerely held religious beliefs and moral convictions about marriage. Because of the bill, Lee said, many religious schools, faith-based organizations, and other nonprofit entities adhering to traditional views of marriage would be at risk of losing tax-exempt status and access to a whole wide range of federal programs. That would include wedding vendors, like kosher caterers, for instance. That was one of the examples Lee provided. Ultimately, the law was passed with Republican support and without Lee's additional protections. Now, I've never believed the federal government should have a role in marriage, period, precisely for all of these reasons. But as support for same-sex marriage became a consensus position, clashes like these became more and more common and more difficult for Orthodox Jews, Christians, and Muslims. In Smith's case at 303 Creative, the question is not whether she would serve LGBT customers like segregationist business owners in the Jim Crow South. She will serve any customer, but she does not want to be compelled to create speech that violates her beliefs. Now, that is a reasonable position. I don't think her critics are unreasonable either, but I do think the lack of interest in Mike Lee's RFMA amendment to strengthen the bill's protections indicates we are hurtling towards a future of more and more religious clashes, which is really interesting, actually, in a world where Catholic churches are seeing surging interest in the traditional Latin Mass, secular women are questioning the sexual revolution, and people like Jordan Peterson, for instance, are finding huge audiences. People are looking for something, some source of meaning and purpose. Some people are landing in traditional faiths. Others, like the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, believe they're, quote, more of a free spirit without the Holy Spirit, but still want to sing hymns in a choir to connect with their spirituality. An interesting little plot line on this season. The world has changed a lot in the last century. It's changed a lot in the last several centuries at a faster pace than any other time in human history. We are all living through an extraordinary change in our species right now. So what does any of this have to do with Christmas or Hanukkah or kosher wedding vendors? Well, these traditions and holidays are a very good reminder of something that sounds very basic. As a Christian, for instance, I don't merely believe Christmas celebrates a story. I believe it celebrates a true story, history. It is absolutely 1,000% fine with me if you think that sounds insane. I don't think you're being unreasonable. But because I believe God sent his son in human form to be born miraculously to a virgin and was literally resurrected from the dead, I believe he is the creator of all things, so I don't get to change what he said. Nancy Pelosi made a wonderful accommodation for members of Congress to wear head coverings, allowing Ilhan Omar to become the first member to wear a religious headscarf on the floor. That's not the case in every context in every European country. They've been dealing with these questions a lot. And I understand why many people find head coverings to be misogynistic and outdated. But I believe Ilhan Omar believes her religion is fact. not a nice story or one of many relative truths that we all just sort of pick and choose. I believe she believes her God is God, just as I think the same. The less popular these beliefs become, the less our system of government is going to work. Unless, of course, we can find a way to respect that some people will continue to worship faith traditions that are more similar to what people generally believed for thousands and thousands of years before modernity and postmodernity and technology made those beliefs seem less plausible to many, many people. Religion may fade, but it will not disappear. Our liberal democracies can't erase these faiths or their texts, but we can adjust to changing public opinion by protecting the balance of our freedoms.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.